This is Ryan with MMA Viking, and I'm here with Nordic pioneer Per Eklund. How you doing, Per?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. We're excited to be talking with you today. I think, looking back at your career, I think you've had unique experience, and wanted to talk to you about some of your earlier fights. I think you're one of the few guys now that have fought in multi-four-man tournaments where you're not just fighting one fight in a night, but you've had a couple wins and fighting two fights in a night. What are your early recollections of like Finn Fight 6, I know, and you were in Viking Fight. What do you remember from those days?
Those days was every time you fought there was different rules, you know. Now there's like
were there rules? What were the rules?
Finn Fight they didn't have too many rules, you know. You couldn't bite, you couldn't eye gouge, you couldn't elbow directly to the spine. But besides that, you could do whatever you wanted.
Yeah. Did you like competing under those lack of rules? Using headbutts and...
Yeah. It's easier because you don't need to think. You can just fight, you know.
Yeah. Are you... I think you're one of the guys when you step in the cage, like you seem more like a fighter, less of like a sports guy or these wrestlers that kind of go into fighting. Yeah. Where does that come from?
I think you're born with it, you know. Because I always considered myself more of a fighter than an athlete, you know.
Yeah.
But today you need to be an athlete, so.
Yeah. Because you were never like a tennis player or a swimmer. Did you?
I played ice hockey.
Okay.
Played some soccer, but I did ice hockey when I was younger.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you just saw, the way I understand the way you got involved is you just saw like UFC on TV.
Yeah, you could rent it at the video store on the Hornsgatan, Södermalm. And my friend, he rented it, and we went to his house and we watched it, and I was like, whoa, those guys, they're nuts.
Yeah,
they're crazy.
And then you felt, since you thought you were nuts and crazy too, or were you like that as a kid?
No, I wasn't. I didn't fight a lot when I was a kid. I was kind of a shy guy. I didn't fight often. Of course, everybody fights, but I wasn't one of the, what do you say?
Like a hooligan or
No, I wasn't. Because when I was at that age, I played ice hockey. And they were very strict with your behavior and everything. So no, I didn't fight.
Great. So
but I liked the challenge because I was always fascinated by martial arts since I was very young. And
was it like Bruce Lee or ninjas? Like what?
All kind of martial arts. Didn't matter if it was Bruce Lee or Van Damme or boxers or whatever. It's just I was fascinated by martial arts. Okay,
so you go to like a local gym here and just start trying like a BJJ class, or how did you?
My first gym was Kampsportsskolan, and today it's Stockholm Muay Thai. I went and I did some Thai boxing for like 6 months maybe, and then I read in the fight magazine about like shoot fighting and Vale Tudo and MMA, and then I saw an ad. So I took the number and I called. It was a Pancras gym, and I started training at Pancras, and then I just fell in love with MMA.
Great. And at that time, was MMA like established? Was that even like a known thing, or was it?
No, it was kind of a little bit like underground. If someone asked you that didn't do martial arts and you said that you did like mixed martial arts or shoot fighting, and then it's like, oh, you do ultimate fighting. It's like they just fucking, you know. Today everybody say you like MMA. It's like, oh, you're MMA, you know, this guy and this guy. Oh, and they started to talk about it, you know.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like when I started, you couldn't even mention it because people were just looking strange at you. It's like, oh, these guys must be crazy, you know.
Yeah, and it must be
So
hot.
it's a huge difference from today, you know.
Yeah, and with your ears, it's a bit hard to hide the fact that you do something that involves some fight sport or wrestling or something.
It took me like a few years to get these ears, though.
Okay.
In the beginning, I didn't have too bad ears.
Yeah. You're one of the first fighters, I think, to do a lot of things, but one of the things you did early was travel. I know you spent, I think, 7 months in Brazil at one point in the early 2000s, and then you were kind of very closely attached to like a Team Quest for a while. What made you go outside of Sweden and start training abroad?
You have to. If you want to get somewhere, it's especially back in the day, you know. If you want to be good, you have to go train with the best.
Yeah.
You can't stay here.
Yeah.
Now it's different, you know. The level is much higher. It's a different thing, but still, if you want to be the best, you have to go train with the best.
Yeah.
And you have to go really seek the best competition, you know. And I knew Team Quest was a good place, you know. Always was a big fan of. I still am a fan of Dan Henderson, you know. So.
Yeah, what was it like when you first got out there and were training with guys like Dan Henderson? I don't know if like Heath Sims was there.
I had most contact with Heath Sims. I was kind of amazed how friendly they were, and they really took good care of me. That's why I always went back there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They're really professional and like really honest people, you know.
Yeah.
And in the States, you don't find that. In Sweden, you know, it's easier to deal with people. If you go like to the States, people are gonna try to hustle you.
Yeah, yeah.
More than here, and I was really amazed by, you know, they're really honest and they were cool guys.
Yeah.
Like genuine good people.
Yeah.
And the training was really good. So.
Great. So I think one of the interesting stories, I think, and fighters' dreams even back then, I think maybe even a bigger thing than today is getting called up into the UFC. I know in 2007, I think you won 4 straight fights after taking a fight with Kawajiri on short notice. You kind of made a good run in 2007. Can you talk about, I don't know if it was a phone call or a manager telling you that you got signed?
Yeah, it was my manager at that time. He called me and I was like, at first I didn't believe him, and I called him back. It's like, hey, stop fucking with me, you know. Don't fuck with me. Things like this, you know. And
Was
it
like, because...
No, I'm serious. And I was like, well, if you're so fucking serious, then send me the contract, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he sent me the contract. I was like, whoa.
Was it something that had been rumored for a while, or did it just come out of the blue, like they...
When I was in the States, the Team Quest, they tried hard to get me in the UFC. So it wasn't something that was like totally new, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But still, it was a really big thing. So.
Yeah, yeah. So when you look back to the UFC, and you had, I think you were the first Swede. You're the first Swede to ever step in the octagon. I think the first Swede to win. Maybe just by a little bit, but when you look back to your run in the UFC and you lost to 2 opponents that are still highly regarded and fighting in the UFC, what are your thoughts? What do you think back? Or do you?
Yeah, of course. I don't ever forget losing, you know. Winning is okay, but losing is just... No, I don't like losing. So yeah, of course I think about it.
Is that
But when you lose, that's when you have to learn, you know, learn from your mistakes.
Yeah. Well, what did you learn the most then? What do you think your biggest mistake was from your run there?
It's hard to like only mention one thing, you know. It's a lot of circumstances. But having the right people around you, that's really important. Having a coach that you trust, it's important. And I always been doing my own thing by myself. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think...
Maybe I learned not doing things by yourself anymore.
Gotcha. Maybe giving up some of all the responsibilities that come with fighting,
Yeah.
management, training,
Yeah.
trying to do that all yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that brings us to, I guess, the last couple topics I wanted to talk to you about. First is, I know recently you've started training a bit at Nexus and working with Andreas Michael as a head coach.
Yeah, I train at Nexus. I also train at Stockholm Muay Thai. So this year I've been training a lot at Stockholm Muay Thai with Thomas Rasmussen.
Uh-huh.
And like the last months, weeks, I've been starting training a little bit with Nexus.
Great. And do you think, you were mentioning earlier what you learned from the UFC, do you think that working with Stockholm Muay Thai and working at Nexus might be a good family for you here in Sweden to kind of take your career back to the next level?
Definitely, yeah. It's it's kind of hard because there's a lot of politics in martial arts, and it really sucks, Oh, you can't go there and you can't do this, and so.
Yeah, and I think that's I think one thing that I've seen since my time in Sweden, it seems like that might be changing a little bit. At least I see more guys. You'll see one guy at Hilti, and then it could be the next day they all meet up at Pancras.
Yeah, it's getting better.
BBC.
It's getting better, but you still have the politics, definitely.
Yeah.
Still involved, but it's getting much better.
Great. And my last two questions for you. When do you see yourself getting back? I think you've been off for almost a year now from getting in the cage. Do you see yourself getting back soon, or when do you think that could be?
I'm going to be back when I'm in shape. I'm going to take the time that I need, and I'm not going to rush anything. When I'm in shape, I'm going to fight.
Great.
I ain't gonna give anyone the opportunity to beat me.
Gotcha. So when you're ready,
I'm gonna fight.
Physically, you're gonna fight.
Yeah.
Okay. What are your goals? I think you're 31 now. What are your goals moving forward? Just what do you think you want to accomplish in the next few years?
My goal is gonna be same as it's always been, I want to seek the toughest competition and see how good I am. There's always I want to test myself and see, can I do it or can I?
Do you think you can do it?
Of course. You have to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, go do something else. It's like number one rule. Believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, how are you going to make anything? Then you're done,
Mm-hmm. Great. Well, thanks, Per. I appreciate your time today, and want to see where your belief and your drive is going to take you. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you.